Anglo-Saxon society, which developed from tribes, local communities played the biggest role in stopping lawbreakers. The country was divided into shires, then hundreds, then tithings, and groups of men in each tithing were expected to keep an eye on each other and bring any criminals to justice. Anyone who witnessed a crime had to raise hue and cry, which was basically shouting for help so that anyone who heard then had to give chase. There was also the king's shire reeve, later known as a sheriff, who met regularly with reeves called the hundredsmen and the tithingmen. When the Normans took over in 1066, William I tightened up law and order to maintain control, but kept the system more or less the same, apart from foresters' castles and some really nasty punishments. In the 1190s, Richard I introduced keepers of the king's peace to settle unruly areas. The stronger of the kings in the later Middle Ages further increased their control over law and order. In 1285, Edward I changed the hundredsmen to 2 chief constables of the hundred and turned the tithingman into the constable of the parish. He also introduced night watchmen to patrol towns at night. By 1361, the keepers of the king's peace had become justices of the peace, or JPs, who acted as magistrates and were still around at the beginning of the 1970s. Their role gradually grew until in 1603 the JPs were getting swamped as they were expected to enforce more than 300 laws. As the role of the parish constables and the watchmen also grew, more wealthy citizens paid other people to take their turn, as nobody much liked trekking around the town between 10 p.m. and dawn for no pay. As the 1700s progressed, citizens also started to privately hire thief-takers to solve crime. The only problem was that these were often criminals themselves. In 1748, Magistrate Henry Fielding organised a more professional crime-fighting force called the Bow Street Runners in his part of London, who were paid by the government from 1785. By the 1800s, the growing towns were clearly too big and crowded for the old system to work, so in 1829, Robert Peel finally introduced an official government-run police force in London with the Metropolitan Police Act. The first detective branch was opened up in 1842 at Scotland Yard, and in 1856 the Police Act spread the police force to all counties.